All right. So, I've technically had my first day in Tokyo. Uh, Currently recording from my hotel. I'm gonna turn my gain up just a little. I think we'll go to +9. Yeah, that should be better. So I've had my first day. I don't plan on doing this every day, but I'll do it on days where it feels appropriate. Um, where to start? It wasn't like a difficult day or anything. I'm just trying to get my head around everything right now. Okay, first things first. Um, I hear a lot of people like complain about the train system when they come here, not being comfortable or not knowing how to get around. Obviously, if you don't speak Japanese or haven't experienced it before, yeah, you're not going to know how to get around. However, for me, well, actually, I'd say probably for everyone, they probably assume that it's difficult for them, simply because they don't know the country. Uh, I guess me too. Like, if you don't know it's like being verbally told directions to get to a place that takes like 10 steps. Like, you're not going to remember all that unless you've been here for ever. The train system itself is not difficult. Um, Knowing like what connects to what, that's like the difficult part. I know everyone always like points to the super colorful like rainbow chart, because every line is color coded to make things simpler. I don't think I looked at that once. Frankly, I just did chat GPT, asked like, hey, what are my connecting routes here, and then that's really all I needed. It's very obvious where like elevators and escalators are. It's very obvious like once you get off a train, like you're blasted with information on where the next train, whichever connecting one would be yours, you're immediately notified on where to go. Um, that wasn't difficult at all. So in regards to the train system, um, America could never. For me, it was awesome. Um, I think it's going to be hard to top that. Uh, a little bit nerdy, but I think trains are cool. I don't have like models or anything like that. I don't research trains, but I've always thought trains were really cool. And being a part of the rush was awesome. Um, it was not easy. Not when I was hauling about 60 to 70 pounds of luggage. Um, and yeah, during business hours, you will absolutely be cramped into a train. You will be stuffed in like a sardine. But it was just awesome. Um, my feet were hurting by the end, and I felt like an absolute clown because people were doing their best to get around me, and I was doing my best to, get out of their way. Because on the train, depending on the stop, either the left door or the right door will open. But it was awesome. I honestly can't wait to get on the train again, packed or not, to just go wherever. Um, I guess as someone who probably doesn't, well, not probably, as someone who doesn't do like public transport a lot, mainly because it's just not really available where I'm at. Um, it's maybe I'm like thinking it's cool because I've never done it before, but I've always been impressed by things that require a lot of logistics, and I can just tell. Like, I mean, also just knowing the story of the train system in Japan, it was just really cool to be a part of it. So, um, doesn't matter that it was hot. Doesn't matter that I was sweating. Everyone's sweating in this country. Um, it was really cool. America could never though. Um, I wouldn't even say just America. I think most places could never, except maybe Germany, because Germany is known for a good rail system as well. So that was fun. My hands are swollen from having to hold on to the handles for so long. Because I had my bags with me, I couldn't really one sit down, which I didn't want to. I wanted people who were like getting off of work to be able to sit down and stuff. I'm not trying to get in their way, but I also didn't want to like lean up against the wall near the doors because I mean luggage is annoying to walk around. So like between, for anyone that's been on the rides or on the trains, you'll know. So between the two doors and not in any of the aisles where the seats are, I tried to stay like right in between when we were riding, and then when the doors would open, I would try and shuffle over to either the front or the back side, so the alleyway for the left and right doors was clear. That's about the as most as I can make of it. But yeah, my hands are swollen from holding onto that. I'm a big guy, okie des. So when the train would hit a jump, I was doing everything I can. I was focused on like 4 points of contact. Had my hand, which was probably the most important, so I don't go flying into some of these really small people. But also, I had my feet and my knees configured in such a way that I was blocking 2 points of mobility for both of my suitcases. I saw some women were like wearing, dress shoes that had their heels low, so I definitely didn't want to like bumping into them and giving them a scuffed heel. That would suck. So I was trying to be as mindful as I could to make sure it wasn't hitting anyone's feet. But yeah, the train was awesome. It is, any Japanese person that sees this is just going to think it's so goofy, but it is impressive to see how well accustomed people are to a public transit system. The most public transit I've ever been a part of is when I was going to junior college and I had to take a bus, and the bus was it was miserable. The bus stop and just the people yelling and talking. For how many people are on the bus on the trains here? I mean, yeah, what everyone says like of trains being dead quiet here, they're not wrong. You can hear some people like whispering or talking or whatever, but for the ratio of people to the decibels of sound that is not caused by the train is insanely high. Yeah, extremely quiet. You can easily hold like a whispering conversation in there, even with the train noise. So yeah, I'm just impressed from a logistical standpoint. It is an absolute marvel what Japan has been able to do with the train station. Let's see. So I mean, before the train, I was getting off the plane. I for the most part knew where to go. I felt kind of bad because I could see once I arrived. I mean, everyone knows that tourism in Japan has been getting crazy, but I could see once I arrived and I got into the immigration area, the checkpoint, I could see how. So you go into this huge room, right? A huge room, and you can see the immigration checkpoints. So it's not like this place couldn't fit a lot of people, but it's just very easy to tell that they had to think of a lot of ways to properly file people. Now, as you might expect, it was just a long queuing system. Those like velvet ropes. I probably went back and forth maybe a total of 16 times. Took us about 30 minutes to get through. It was super easy. I already did all my my travel stuff from the States, so I just had to scan my passport, did your uh, index finger scans, and so that honestly wasn't bad at all. I don't know. I'm someone who's not really bothered by being inconvenienced. America has really bad traffic, and you ask anyone about it, they'll tell you like, people are really rude on the streets in America, and they are. They'll cut you off going 20 miles and over faster than you just to reach the red light first, and to save maybe zero point 0.5 seconds on their trip. It's ridiculous. I've always been the kind of person who just drives. I don't care. If I'm get behind someone who's like really slow, where it's like dangerous slow, like 15 miles under the speed limit. I have had those people. Then yeah, I will do what I can to get around them. But I'm just not bothered to rush where I'm going. So going through all the lines at immigration, I've seen so many stories of people saying just how awful it is. Foreigner stories. I'm sure for like the Japanese people who are more or less used to it, they probably don't necessarily like it, but they're just like, okay, it is what it is. For me, I was truly unbothered. Moment I got off the train or off the flight, got through immigration, I immediately got I immediately got interviewed by, my perception is like it's an amateur news crew. I truly don't know. They actually gave me a pamphlet. I haven't fully read it yet. Let's see. It was TV Tokyo and affiliated networks in 6 regions. This is a documentary-style television show where we ask people from other countries why they come to Japan and follow them on their unique and exciting experiences. We aim to see what is interesting in this country from a new perspective and rediscover Japan. I guess the title of it is Why Did You Come to Japan? Airs every Monday, 6:25 p.m. to 8 p.m. Yeah, that's the program title. So I got interviewed by them for about 25 minutes. Now, I was elated to do that. Not because I was like, oh, a TV. I've grown up around people who have been on TV, so like the spotlight or fame, that kind of thing has never bothered me. It was cool in the sense like, as a foreigner, the main way I've been able to interact with Japan and learning about it is by watching people do interviews and stuff on YouTube. Think of like the top 5 off the top of your head. Those are the ones I'm talking about. So it was just interesting to, the moment I get off the plane, get through immigration, I'm walking to the information desk, and this group of 3 individuals, a cameraman, a translator, and the interviewer, very kind people. They came up to me, interviewed me. I have no idea how my footage is going to be viewed or if it gets skewed at all, so I'm not even worried about that. I'm just saying that was a pretty unique experience to see the stuff that I saw in person, but it's just goofy. I thought it was cool. I think I don't know what the country of Japan, what their feeling is on it, if it was just cool. Again, I'm not super bothered by a lot of things, and I'm usually pretty amenable. So it was just cool to be a part of something. I'm hoping to be able to catch that at some point. I think they said that the footage is available for free, but only temporary. Yeah, I'd love to be able to find that if I can figure out how to navigate that channel and find my interview, because it was a lot of fun. They were all very kind. Yeah, so that was cool. Exchange some USD to some yen. That was cool. Again, there's nothing really cool about exchanging money. I just like the logistics of everything, so that was cool. Went back, got my Suica card. I got the green card because of its ability to retain. Not that I really imagine I'll be leaving much on it, but yeah, I just wanted the green. I decided not to go to the welcome. I forgot why when I was there in the thing, but the green to me is better in some regards. 500 yen deposit. Whoopee, who cares? That's like what, $3, something like that. Doesn't bother me. So got that. Now, once I got my Suica card, this was the part, like before my whole train portion that I just gave you guys, this was kind of the part where I was just kind of sitting there with a thumb up my ass, like thinking, okay, how do I start the process? Because I was right next to the Suica station was the first toll gates where I can tap my Suica card. But of course, because I don't know the line names and the connections, that's where I had to do research for a bit. So I went back and forth between the train and the bus. Ultimately, the bus didn't have a scheduled stop for Tachikawa, so I went with the train, and I'm glad I did. because the train was just incredible. Can't wait to do that again. I might do it today just for the hell of it. I'll just spend some money, just sit on the train for a bit, go somewhere random, and then come back later because it was just cool. Um, the hardest part. So between the flight, getting off the flight, and reaching my hotel, I think it was about, I want to say 4 hours, but when I repeat that in my head, it sounds wrong. We'll go with 3.5, 4 hours. That whole time, the absolute hardest part about that, the most difficult, was the 20 to 25 minute walk from Tachikawa Station to my hotel. That was hard. Because as much traveling as it is, as much logistics as you're like going through, getting off the plane, going through immigration, getting your currency, getting your Suica card, and then navigating the train, the last 25-minute walk was the most difficult part. Because at that point, you're just tired. I looked up some videos of like the area relative to my hotel. Realistically, it's not a far walk, but I think once you're tired, and also the sidewalks are slightly cobbled in square tiles, so doing my roller case over that was kind of rough. And then carrying a suitcase that just wouldn't like clasp cleanly against it. Yeah, those last 25 minutes to my hotel, and then I just walked like two small flights of 3 steps to get up to my hotel and get into the lobby. That was unbelievably hard. That was the hardest part. That was like the whole thing, especially the train. That's like a really big endurance test. But those last 25 minutes, that was the hardest part. I'm glad that's over. I'm not looking forward to doing that when I leave. But I got in my hotel, got to my room, was just thinking about what I wanted to do. Like, do I want to go get something to eat real quick? I think when I got in my hotel, it was, I want to, that whole process might have taken longer than I thought, because we landed at like 1:45, and I want to say I got in my hotel at like 6:30 or 7. Damn, maybe I was out longer than I thought. It didn't feel like that. Certainly felt like 3 or 4 hours, but not like 6 hours, if that was accurate. But I really wanted to shower. I really wanted to eat. I was hungry. But all I did was I went to the bathroom. They had like a nice glass on there, probably for rinsing your mouth. I just used it as a cup. I drank like 6 cups of water. I thumbed around with the AC for a bit to get that going. And then I passed out, and I woke up this morning at about 7:30. So I slept for 12 hours. Because up to that point, by the time I got to my hotel, I had been up for, I want to say about 26 hours. Probably longer. Probably somewhere over 30. Now that I'm thinking that because I landed at 1:30 and I got here at like 6:30 or 7, I must have been up for about 30 plus hours. But yeah. Oh, real quick on the humidity. It's interesting. So I come from California, not like notoriously the most hot place in the States, but in terms of dry heat, I think it is the state except for like the deserts. It routinely hits like 102 degrees there. Now, it's hot here. Like, don't make no mistake about it. But at no point did I feel overwhelmed. People always talk about the humidity, like, oh, the summer is the absolute worst because you're just sweaty and it just feels like you're drowning all the time, or you're breathing in soup. Like, it just didn't feel like that to me. It was hot. I was sweating. So was everyone else. But maybe because Tokyo is also, or I say Tokyo, maybe it was just the day I was out, but it was very breezy here. So when a breeze would go by, which was pretty frequently, just all the sweat would cool you off immediately. I think about yesterday getting off the flight and getting to my hotel. I think about like that whole section of time, and I think about whether I could have done that in California. I don't think I could have. If I were tasked that same amount of work in California, I don't think I could have done it without sitting down. Because I didn't sit down. From the moment I got off the plane, I didn't sit down once until I reached my hotel. I didn't have any water, I didn't have any food, nothing. But I felt totally okay the whole way over. Maybe it was adrenaline, maybe I was just high on being somewhere new. I hadn't really like seen anything yet where I was like, oh wow, like, I mean, it was cool being in a different country, and the train was really cool. I didn't even get to sightsee out of the train because I was so focused on just standing. So I wasn't looking at anything. So I hadn't been wowed yet by seeing anything. So I don't know if I was just flying on emotions, which I don't really feel like I had any. I was just kind of going through the motions. I guess as a slight point of that, my mom and my grandma asked me before I left, like, are you excited? I'm like, I'm not like buzzing. I have a very explicit reason why I'm coming to Japan in this country and staying for a month. So maybe because I have that locked in my head so much, like I wasn't like buzzing when I got off the plane. Yeah, I totally forgot where I was going with that. I was talking about the humidity. Humidity was just fine. It was easy. Um, oh yeah, but the it was no problem. It was hard. My feet were hurting the whole time, or my heels rather, not like my feet, but my heels. Having to stand and constantly autocorrect your position on a train that's kind of knocking you left and right, and you're also like being very wary not to bump into other people. My eye was dug into my heels. My shoes put in a lot of work last night for the heels, but yeah, 6.5, 7 hours of humid heat from the airport to my hotel with no water and no food. It was really easy. I just don't think I could have done that in dry heat. 'Cause dry heat just feels like it's just beating on you. There's nothing there to soften it. I think probably the humidity softens a lot of the heat, because dry heat is just awful. There's nothing to relax you. Um, but anyway, that was my first day. Um, I'm recording this right after I got out of the shower. Shower was very nice. At this point, I've been up for 4 hours. I brushed my teeth like 2 hours ago, and my stomach tasted flavor, and I haven't eaten in probably 18 hours at this point, so I'm going to go swing by a Combini real quick and probably just relax today in the immediate area around my hotel, if not my hotel room itself, because my heels are in rough shape. My hands are still swollen. They hurt because I was white knuckling that train handle yesterday, but this was my first day impression, and I'm excited for the month ahead. Like I said, I'm probably not going to record every day. I'm just going to record when it feels appropriate. I recorded before I got on my flight to here, and then recording now after my first day. Nothing eventful. I didn't go to the mall. I didn't like go to my first restaurant or anything. So, but the train just left such a strong impression on me. That was so fun. That was a good time. But yeah, I'll probably make another recording when I find something worth recording. So, thanks for listening.